This video is how the brain revs itself up. And this is just a quick short video. I'll elaborate on this more in the future, but it was just sort of fresh in my mind. And it comes from a couple different sources. Some of it comes from reading the book Transformers by Nick Lane. Other comes from other things I've read about the brain. So basically, what is the purpose of a brain? To walk down a path in a forest, a jungle, or a prairie, and to survive, and eventually to reproduce. That's why we have a brain. And the brain must deal with reality, so it's very real. Why do animals have brains but plants do not? Because animals move. As soon as you move, you have to have a value judgment. You have to pick a destination. You have to have a memory how to get back. You have to navigate, avoid obstacles, etc. Okay, that's why you have a brain. So what does the brain do? You walk down the path in the forest, the jungle, the prairie, and you always ask yourself the question, things are cool or not cool? Things are cool, not cool. Things are cool. I can just look for some food, look for a woman, look for some water, and just take care of business. Maybe I can enjoy a book and relax, take a nap. That's great. Things are cool. But if things are not cool, then all of a sudden you have to pay attention. Your life's in danger. There could be predators. So imagine you're walking down a path in the forest and all of a sudden you see a group of 3 coyotes coming towards you. Okay, what do I do? Now this ramps up your sympathetic autonomic nervous system. So that's SANS. And basically, the fear center is the amygdala. And, the amygdala is trying to get the attention of the hypothalamus. The hypothalamus is in the center of the brain. It's like the crossroads. So the amygdala will activate the hypothalamus for a fear response, fight, flight, or freeze. Okay, and that will elevate cortisol, adrenaline, noradrenaline. Adrenaline, noradrenaline are like epinephrine, norepinephrine. And that will raise your blood glucose a tremendous amount and your blood lipids so that you can respond to this urgent physical stress. Also increases your clotting factors. And you can also remember stress like being chased by a tiger in the dark. What happens in the brain? At the parts of the brain which are active, you'll release more glutamate. That's the excitatory neurotransmitter. And that will cause more calcium entry into the cells. Okay, so about 90% of excitatory neurotransmitters in the brain are glutamate, cerebral cortex. And once more calcium enters, that cell will become more active. Okay, the cell that's going to become more active, it'll send its glucose type 4 transporters to the plasma membrane to take in more glucose to that neuron because it's going to have to ramp up its metabolic rate. You also have what are called MAMs. That means endoplasmic reticulum, membrane, mitochondrial contact sites. Okay, and at those sites, you will send calcium from the endoplasmic reticulum into the mitochondria. And that calcium, extra calcium entry into the mitochondria will increase the activation of pyruvate dehydrogenase and other dehydrogenase enzymes to increase the activity of Krebs cycle. You'll also have a reservoir sitting around of NADPH. And I like what Nick Lane says. He calls the P in NADPH, P for power. Phosphates power in comparison with NADH. NADH is just an electron carrier. So what happens though when you have to ramp up activity, go from 0 to 60 miles per hour real fast in terms of your mental physical activity, you will convert your NADPH, which is usually for biosynthesis, you'll convert that into NADH. So you have all this reservoir of energy ready to go. So this is a wonderful thing. What this means is you can quickly jumpstart massive increases in activity because of these reservoirs. Okay, you don't want them always sitting around, or they'll cause reactions to go in the wrong way. But when you need them, and ATP synthase, complex 5 of the inner mitochondrial membrane is now spinning rapidly, so it's sucking all the electrons towards it, which means you can pump like crazy, pump protons into the intramembranous space. So this is actually a really cool thing. I know it kind of sounded mundane, but it's actually a beautiful, magnificent, cool thing. The fact that the cell has all these reservoirs of energy sitting around so that when the demand arises, the brain can spring into action and have tremendous energy and physical response very quickly. And that keeps us alive. And the reason I make these short videos is I take tons of notes, like whatever paper I read, book I read, conversation I have. If I hear something interesting about something I'm interested in, diabetes, kidney failure, atrial fibrillation, brain neurotransmitters, brain physiology, I just make a note and I accumulate all these notes on my desk. And then what happens is I'll be busy writing a book, preparing a lecture for an interview or something like that, and this stuff will sit there for 2 weeks. And then when I got a free moment, a free half day or day, I try to go through all these papers real quick and add information to my files on hypertension, diabetes, atherosclerosis, whatever it is, whatever the subject is, And then if I come across an idea that I think is good for a talk or I want to use in a future talk, I'll sometimes make a quick talk like this so that I'll have it available. Like when I want to expand on this topic, now I got this PowerPoint available, a slide already made that I'll improve upon it, add illustrations, etc. So this is all part of what I talked. I gave a lecture recently about knowledge management systems. And this is a secret of how I have all this data at my fingertips when I decide I want to write a book. I mean, this is why I can write a book in 1 week, because I've already essentially written the book. I just need to piece it together in my mind's eye, see the order of topics, add whatever's new and interesting, and it's voila, it's ready to go.